May peace, mercy, and blessings be upon all. My dear medical students, in this lecture, we will explain and elaborate more in histology of male reproductive tract or histology of male genital tract. As usual, we will start by the learning objectives. We have 4 learning objectives. Number 1, to describe the histological structure of the testes and epididymis, differentiate between the exocrine and endocrine parenchyma of the testes, to explain the structure and function of blood-testis barrier, and to subdivide the accessory male genital glands. Really, we will have 3 genital glands in this lecture: prostate, seminal vesicle, and pulpourethral gland. Let's start. Our contents today: histology of the testes, blood-testis barrier, excretory tubules of the testes, and we will finalize by accessory genital glands. Look at this diagram. This is the testes, and from the testes arrives the epididymis. Then I will pass to the ductus deferens, or sometimes we call it vas deferens. The vas deferens will unite with the seminal vesicle to form the ejaculatory duct, and the ejaculatory duct will open into the urethra, prostatic urethra, and from the prostatic urethra it will continue into membranous urethra, benign urethra, to excrete the sperms to outside. This is the pathway of the sperm starting from the testes to be excreted from the copulatory organ here. The beginning with testis is a compound tubular mixed gland. Compound tubular, so it is formed of duct system. This is the word compound. Tubular means that the secretory unit is tube-like. Mixed, as it is formed of both endocrine and exocrine. The endocrine part secrete male sex hormone, while the exocrine part secrete seminal fluid. Stroma of the testes, capsule, septa, reticular connective tissue. These 3 components represent the usual classic component of any stroma. But here I will elaborate more in the capsule. The capsule is formed of 3 coats. The coat in the testes called tunica. So I have 3 tunicae: tunica vaginalis, tunica alpigini, tunica vasculosa. Tunica vaginalis, parietal, visceral layers, lined with simple squamous epithelium. This is tunica vaginalis, similar to the serosa, similar to the pleura, similar to the peritoneum. So it's simple squamous epithelium. Don't forget. Tunica alpigini is a connective tissue. Which type of connective tissue? Dense, collagenous tissue, thickened posteriorly to form mediastinum testes. So this is connective tissue, and this is epithelium. The tunica, or the coat number 3, tunica vasculosa, areolar connective tissue, rich in blood capillaries, and this is within the testes. From the mediastinum testes, incomplete septa arise and extend into the deep surface of the tunica alpigini, and dividing the testes into 250 compartments or lobules. Each testicular lobule contains 1 to 4 highly convoluted seminiferous tubules. So I have, by the end, you should know that the testes divided into 250 250 compartments or lobules called testicular lobule, and each lobule contain highly convoluted seminiferous tubules which produce semen, which produce sperm. The word seminiferous means produce sperm or semen. Here I have one question. How many sperms synthesized by the adult male per day? If you imagine the adult male synthesizes, yes, the adult male synthesizes 200 million sperm per day. This is a huge number. This is a huge number. Look at this diagram. I have here tunica alpigini in Nile blue, and this is the septa extended from tunica alpigini towards the mediastinum testis. What is this? Yes, this is the testicular compartment. We have 250 testicular compartments. Each compartment contains from 1 to 4 seminiferous tubules. Yes, is that clear? I think this diagram is highly clear. Parenchyma of the testis is the most important item in this part. It is divided into exocrine part, which produce sperms, and endocrine part, which produce testosterone. This endocrine part is located or represented in the interstitial cells of Leydig. Interstitial cells of Leydig between seminiferous tubules. I have here a question. Could you mention 2 organs like the testes? What is the meaning of like the testes? I mean here 2 organs with endocrine and exocrine part. Endocrine and exocrine part. Who can tell me this? Yes, we have the pancreas, which has the endocrine part represented in the islets of Langerhans, secrete insulin, glucagon, somatostatin, and exocrine part, which represented in pancreatic acini, which secrete the digestive enzyme. Do you know another organ? Yes, I know the ovary. The ovary has endocrine part, secretion or responsible for secretion of estrogen and progesterone, and the exocrine part, which is responsible for secretion of the oocyte, secondary oocyte. Yeah, is that clear about this question? I hope so. Seminiferous tubule is 50 centimeter in length, 200 micron in diameter. I have here many figures. Don't forget the figure. 50 centimeter length, 200 microns in diameter, having clear basement membrane surrounded by smooth muscle fibers. Seminiferous tubule is lined by 2 types of cells. Spermatogenic cells, stratified and produce sperms. Sertuli cells, supporting, protective, and nutritive cells. So I have 2 kinds of cells. 2 kinds of cells. Look at this diagram. This is light microscopic examination of the testes. Yes, I have here seminiferous tubules, which is lined by spermatogenic cells and Sertuli cells. Spermatogenic cells and Sertuli cells. And the exocrine part. This is the exocrine part. The second part is the endocrine part. This is the endocrine part. This is the interstitial cell of Leydig. Interstitial cell of Leydig, yes, are located in between the seminiferous tubules. In between the seminiferous tubules, yes. Spermatogenic cells, they are dividing, differentiating, and maturing under the effect of FSH and androgen. The most important ones are the Spermatogonia. And the Spermatogonia lay on the basement membrane of the seminiferous tubules. The most mature one are the sperm, and that lay in the center of the tubule. We have here 5 types of cells. Look at this. This is the basement membrane, well-developed basement membrane. And this is the interstitial cell of Liebig, the endocrine part that secrete testosterone. Have a look at the cells of seminiferous tubules. This is the Spermatogonia, and this is the mature sperm. Spermatogonia resting at the basement membrane, and the mature sperm located at the center. Spermatogonia, they are small cells with small nuclei which rest on the basement membrane. How many chromosomes in the Spermatogonia? Yes, 46 chromosomes. At puberty, they divide to give 2 subtypes of daughter Spermatogonia. Type A Spermatogonia, here the nucleus appear with dark nuclei, type A dark nuclei, and they remain as stem cells and divide to give type B Spermatogonia. Yes, they remain as a stem cell and they divide to give type B Spermatogonia. Type B Spermatogonia, which is larger cells than Spermatogonia, but not the largest within the seminiferous tubules. Take care. They are larger than type A Spermatogonia with pale nuclei. Take care that type B with pale. Type B, pale nuclei, while type A, dark nuclei. They divide by mitosis to give primary spermatocyte. This will lead us to primary spermatocyte. Primary spermatocyte, they are the largest of all spermatogenic cells. Largest. Each cell has 46 D chromosomes, and each cell undergoes its first mitotic division, giving rise to smaller cells called secondary spermatocytes with 23 D chromosomes. Yes, this cell divide by first meiotic division. Take care, primary divide by first meiotic division. Yes, to give secondary spermatocytes with 23 D chromosome. The cell number 3, secondary spermatocyte. Secondary spermatocytes, they are daughter cells of primary spermatocytes, small cells, small nuclei, live for short period. If you compare secondary spermatocyte with primary spermatocyte, you will find that primary spermatocyte, the largest cell, and it remains for a long period, stay for a long period. So when you examine a section in human tests, the most numerous cell you will find is primary spermatocyte. Why? Because it remains for long period. You will rarely see secondary spermatocyte because these cells divide by second meiotic division shortly after they are formed. So you will rarely see this secondary spermatocyte in sections of the tests. They enter quickly in the second meiotic division to form spermatids, appearing green here, spermatid with how many number of chromosomes? Yes, 23S chromosome, while secondary spermatocyte contain 23 D chromosome. Take care of these numbers, please. The cell number 4, spermatid. Spermatids, they are very small cells with deeply stained nuclei. They present in the center of seminiferous tubules near Sertoli cells, adjacent to Sertoli cells, and they have 23 S chromosomes. Each spermatid undergoes a process of spermiogenesis to be transformed into spermatozoa. Here, this process is not a dividing process. So no further subdivision of spermatids, but transformation process called spermiogenesis in order to form spermatozoa. Number 5, sperm. Sperm, it is highly motile body that consists of head, neck, middle piece, principal piece, end piece. This sperm, the cell or spermatozoa, the cell number 5, and it is, fortunately, it is formed of 5 parts: head, neck, middle piece, principal piece, end piece. The head piriform in shape, formed mainly of nucleus. Its anterior 2/3 is covered by acrosomal cap, and this acrosomal cap rich in hydrolytic enzymes that dissolve zona pellucida of the ovum to facilitate fertilization. So acrosomal cap contain hydrolytic enzymes which enable the sperm to penetrate the ovum or actually penetrate the secondary oocyte to complete the fertilization. Structure number 2 is the neck, which contains centrioles. The middle piece contains the mitochondria. Middle mitochondria. Principal piece contains the fibrous sheath, and the end piece is formed of central exoneme surrounded by cell membrane or plasma limb. This is the diagram of the sperm or spermatozoa. This is the head containing the nucleus, and this is the neck, which contains centrioles. The neck leads to middle piece. Look at the middle piece. You will find that the middle piece contains many mitochondria. As I said before, middle piece mitochondria. And then we will move here to the principal piece. Yes, this is the principal piece. The principal piece contains the fibrous sheath, and the end piece contain the exoneme. End piece contain the exoneme. I will gonna talk about the Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells here is non-spermatogenic. We finish the spermatogenic cells. Spermatogenic cells were 5. Yes, could you repeat it, please? Please pause the video and repeat the 5 spermatogenic cells. Yes, Spermatogonia, primary spermatocyte, secondary spermatocyte, spermatid, and spermatozoa. Sertoli cells, on the reverse of spermatogenic cells, these cells are supporting cells. They are interposed between spermatogenic cells, and they are large pyramidal shape cells resting on basement membrane of seminiferous tubule and extend to the lumen. So it extends through the whole thickness of spermatogenic cells. It is tall columnar. They have pale cytoplasm and large basal elongated eochromatic nuclei. These nuclei represent activity eochromatic. They have all usual organelle by electron microscopic examination. The basal part of their lateral walls are unit to each other by tight junction. Don't forget tight junction, which constitute blood-testis barrier. The function of Sertoli: support, protect, nourish, regulate, and release sperm. This is number 1. Number 2, phagocytosis of degenerative cells and debris, especially the residual body. The residual body or the extra cytoplasm remaining from the spermatozoa. Number 3, secretion of testicular fluid and hormone called androgen binding protein. Androgen binding protein secreted under the effect of FSH. Number 4, formation of blood-testis barrier. Number 4, formation of blood-testis barrier. Here I have activity by using the textbook of histology, basic histology by Junqueira. The textbook here to mention one more hormone secreted by Sertoli cell. One hormone secreted by Sertoli cell. Yes. Could you answer this? Yes. His Sertoli cell secretes 3 hormones: androgen binding hormone, inhibin hormone, and Mullerian inhibitory factor. So it secretes 3 hormones. Look at this. You will find here Sertoli cell insinuated between the spermatogenic cells. Yes, this is Sertoli cell insinuated between the Sertoli cell. This is the spermatogenic cells. Let's to revise: Spermatogonia, primary spermatocyte, secondary spermatocytes, where here you will find the spermatozoa. Second content today is the blood-testis barrier. Blood-testis barrier. Blood-testis barrier, it is the tight junctions between the basal parts of lateral wall Sertoli. It divides the seminiferous tubules into basal compartment containing spermatogonia, adluminal compartment containing other spermatocytes. So I have basal and adluminal. The function of blood-testis barrier is to select the nutrients, hormones, and other structures needed for spermatogenic cells. Number 2, the barrier isolates, protects the spermatogenic cells from any damaging material, any antigen, any antibodies in the circulating blood. So you will hear, if the human infected by virus or any injurious microorganism that damage the tight junction of blood-testis barrier, it will expose the spermatogenic cells to the immune system, and the immune system will form antibodies, and the antibodies will attack the spermatogenic cells, and this may lead in the future to infertility. Take care of this medical application, please. Interstitial cell of Leydig, I will stop at this point here. I hope it was beneficial for all of you. To summarize our lecture today, the test is covered by 3 coats formed of 2 parts. The 3 coats called tonici, tunica vaginalis, tunica alpigini, tunica vasculosa. 2 parts, stroma and parenchyma. The stroma is formed of capsule septareticular fibers. Parenchyma formed of Sertoli cell spermatogenic cells. The spermatogenic cells is divided into 5 types of cells: Spermatogonia, primary spermatocyte, secondary spermatocyte, Spermatid, and the cell number 5 is the spermatozoa or the sperm. The second category, lining seminiferous tubules, is the Sertoli cell, which is responsible for support, nutrition, production of androgen binding protein, and formation of blood-testis barrier. I hope it was beneficial and helpful and clear for all of you. Thank you. We will continue the rest of our lecture in the next session, and we will get more and more questions about it. Thank you for all of you. Take care.